Who misses having some good old homemade bran muffins? This girl. I loved bran muffins when I was younger. My mom used to make a big old mixing bowl of bran muffin mix, and then we would cook them in the microwave for some reason. I don't know, this was the 80s. We were probably really enthralled with the microwave. But anyway, I've been dreaming about this recipe for a lot of decades. In a gluten-free version, it's next to impossible because bran is made from wheat. But I had a eureka moment and I figured out a way to make a gluten-free version of bran muffins using really affordable ingredients, and I'm gonna show you how. It's kind of magic. Okay, the other thing I loved growing up was Farina cereal. Kind of showing my age here, but yes, child of the 80s. Love Farina. I basically used it as a vessel for brown sugar, but that was the other thing I missed, and I found a workaround for that, and it is oat bran. So I made an oat bran porridge that I have, I'll link to that below, and then I was like, why can't I use that to create gluten-free bran muffins? So let's talk about what oat bran is. It is not processed oatmeal. The bran of wheat is the outer shell of the grain. So they remove the outer shell of the grain, that is oat bran. Now the inside of the oat is called the groat, and the groat is what they will process and cut, and that's what makes oatmeal. So when you make oat flour, you're processing the inside of the oat. The oat bran is just the outside of the oat. So if you want to get oat bran for these muffins, you have to buy oat bran, and I get it from Bob's Bread Mill. It's certified gluten-free. It's really affordable. I get mine off of Amazon, but you could probably get it on Vitacost or Thrivecart or something like that too. You need 1.5 cups for this recipe, which is 160 grams. So the other thing to kind of replicate that whole wheat taste, I'm using another ingredient in addition to that, and this is ground flaxseed, which is also known as flaxseed meal. And this is also, you could get this at the grocery store, like in the organic section. You'll need a 1/2 cup of this, which is 70 grams. This you can make at home. If you have flaxseed, you can just process it in a blender or a food processor and make your own flaxseed meal. 1 cup of gluten-free flour. I use cup for cup, which is 142 grams. You can use any gluten-free flour for this recipe. It's kind of just helps bind all the crumb because there's nothing to bind it so far. So if you have another preferred brand, anything will work for this recipe. Okay, for the sugar, I'm using a 1/2 cup of dark packed brown sugar, which is 117 grams. You can use light if that's all you have. I just like the dark because it gives it a darker, kind of richer color, and then more of a molasses, like caramely taste to it. And then for the leavening, it's 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we're just gonna whisk all those dry ingredients to combine in a large bowl because everything's going to be mixed in here together. So just make sure you have enough room. For the liquid ingredients, I'm adding 1 cup of unsweetened applesauce. This just helps with the moisture in the recipe. And if you have only sweetened applesauce on hand, I would cut back on the sugar probably by about 1/2. And the applesauce is 245 grams. Then 2 eggs, 1/4 cup of oil, and that's 55 grams, and you could use any preferred oil, and then 2 tablespoons of molasses, and that just helps give that like smoky, richer flavor to the muffins. Ooh, let me show you what kind of molasses I'm using. So it's Grandma's unsulfured molasses. You get this, I think it's like by the pancake syrup in the grocery store, and this is what I use for baking. And then finally 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So just combine all that together. And I will say too, if you don't have molasses on hand and you rather not buy another ingredient, you can swap out honey or pure maple syrup too. Okay, so your oven should be preheating to 375. And I'm gonna show you something. So when I tested this recipe, for a lot of my muffin recipes, especially my gluten-free muffin recipes, I like to rest the batter first. And I'm gonna show you now why I do this. So I'm gonna do 6 of them. I'm going to bake right away, and then I'll rest the other 6, and I'll show you the difference of why I do that. To do this really quick, I really like triggered scoops. This is a large one, which is 4 tablespoons, and I just get a level amount and then plop it in. You want it to be pretty much almost to the top, just like shy of the top. I like to zhuzh up my muffin recipes with a little bit of coarse sugar, which is also known as turbinado sugar, and I just sprinkle the tops. This is totally optional. It just gives like a little crunchy, sugary finish at the end, which why don't you ever want that? And then they bake in a 375 oven for about 20 to 22 minutes. You're looking for the tops to be set, so when you press your finger in it, it'll spring back, or you can use a toothpick too to make sure that there's no liquid on a toothpick. So we have our baked muffins. These are the ones that are rested. These were not rested. These were baked right away, and you can really tell the difference. I hope you guys could see it at home too, but the rested ones just have rounder, smoother tops where the other ones are a little more cracked. And the reason, and it's not just appearances that I do that, and I'll break it up and I'll show you the crumb in a second, but it just gives more time for the gluten-free starches to soak up all that moisture. And especially this is a high moisture recipe. This has the applesauce, it has the oil, it has the molasses, it has the eggs. So the oats will soak up that moisture as well as the gluten-free starches. So it also softens the crumb and it helps bind everything together. So I've noticed when I don't rest it, that the muffins are just a little bit more crumbly than when you rest the batter. So it takes 10 minutes and it definitely makes a difference. I highly recommend it. Okay, so the inside texture in this is definitely might be a little bit trickier to see, but the rested muffins just have a more cohesive crumb. You can just tell that it's softer, where when I broke apart the other one, it's just a little bit more crumbly. So does this taste good? 100%. Does this one taste better? Yes. So it just like, we're all about just making little tweaks to make your gluten-free baked goods taste just as good as the originals, and this is an easy thing you can do. I mean, the best is eat these warm out of the oven. Oh my God. I mean, they taste, let me chew first. They taste just as good as I remember. I love the applesauce taste in it. It tastes really good with that like whole wheat but not whole wheat taste of the muffins. Some other ideas is if you wanted to add some more spices to it, so like cinnamon or ginger or nutmeg or any of those warm spices. Orange zest would be really good in these, or chocolate chips. Never a bad idea. I can throw chocolate chips in anything and my kids will eat them. Thanks for watching. And if you are enjoying this channel and would like to support me, I'd really appreciate if you can follow me, and that way you can get all the new recipes as soon as they release. I will see you in the next video.